In another video, I explored the nature of trust and its importance, but what can we trust? And when is it advisable to trust? So I would say that there's no guarantees, and so nothing is 100% trustworthy. So it's a good idea to trust things that, statistically speaking, will bring about more well-being as a result of trusting them. It's a good idea to trust when, statistically speaking, more well-being will result in response to trust. And there are a lot of things in that category. Even trusting that someone is basically well-intentioned can bring better results from a periodically dishonest person than trusting that they have bad intentions and trusting that people in general have bad intentions. But what can we trust? Well, one of the things we can trust is that the universe is getting bigger. So space and time are getting bigger. And in the process, life is becoming more complex. So life, the universe, and everything is getting bigger and more complex in every moment. Another thing that we can trust is that the universe, the multiverse, all that is growing. In our current mythology, the universe began with a condensed form of energy smaller than a pea, this big. And everything that has ever been, is, or will ever be, is emerging out of this little shape. Now, we're asked to take this on faith of logic, on faith that the scientists that are continually evolving and changing their minds over the years have it right on this. But nevertheless, this is very tiny. The room is 1,000 times bigger. The house is 1,000 times bigger than that. And, you know, we're talking really big. Now, if life, the universe, and everything is getting ever bigger, and as it does, developing more and more unique life forms, more and more unique patterns of energy, then the relationships, the relays of energy between those various complex patterns are also getting more and more complex. There's more of them. So there's more synergies of all kinds. So if we can trust that all that is growing, that all that is getting more complex, that all that is getting bigger and bigger, that time is getting bigger and space is getting bigger, and that the process of generating possibility is almost infinite. Meaning you can take a single finger and you can break it down into more than 1 million subatomic particles. And then you can combine those 1 million subatomic particles to create different atomic structures, to connect in this way and this way. You can create 1 trillion different variations from something as static as a single piece of finger. Well, we're talking about infinite possibility. Because while we're busily calculating 1 trillion possibilities for this one finger, life has just created tens of thousands of new fingers in the forms of new humans. And over time, more and more of the life-potentiated planets that we know of, the current estimate is 1 billion, and this goes back to the ever-changing narrative of science. 100 years ago, we were likely to be the only ones, said the most knowledgeable scientists. Now, the most knowledgeable scientists say that there's more than 1 billion planets that we know of so far that are likely conducive to our form of life, which is perhaps just one of many. Well, let's just say that we've got a head start because we're egocentric, and so we like to focus on ourselves. Let's just say we've gotten a head start, that out of the race of 1 billion life-affirming planets, that we got there first because we said so. And so we got there first. We're currently the only form of life in the universe on our 1 in 1 billion planets. Now, if we just set aside the statistical irrationality of that, we can then ask the question, just how big is the universe going to get over the next 1 trillion years? So our current stage of development in our current narrative of the P to the universe is 24 billion years. Now, let's just say that out of all the billion planets, that are out there, that we are the first one. And it's been 24 billion years. And in the 24 billion year race, we came in first. So what about the next 1 trillion years? Where will we be in 1 trillion years? Where will life be? How many of those billion plants or billion planets capable of sustaining something we consider lifelike will have developed something over the next billion years, over the next 2 billion years, over the next 1 trillion years? Will there be any planet left potentiated for life that does not have far more sophisticated forms of life than we currently know now on our planet 1 trillion years ago, even one from now? Even if we don't learn to become spacefaring as a civilization, it's just the amount of probability that goes on over 1 trillion years. So we can trust that life will keep getting bigger and longer and more complex. We can count on life for that. Can we count on ourselves to be more complex, more potentiated a year from now? Well, to the extent that we take life as our role model, to the extent that we are a part of life, to the extent that we are part of reality, then statistically speaking, we can trust that as part of life, it is our nature to grow, to get bigger, to become more complex. That we can trust. Hi, I'm Dane Rose. All knowledge begins with a paradigm, and out of that paradigm comes an idea, an awareness that we adopt, reject, or synthesize into something better. It doesn't become wisdom, it doesn't become useful until we take action, until we integrate it into not only our thoughts, but our feelings, our body, our words, and our way of being. For that to occur, we have to move from the passive media paradigm into more active engagement. In the link below, in the More Information section, is an invitation to join a very small, deliberately filtered, high-quality discussion with a group of people who share a common language and want to work with these ideas, with me and with one another, with the sole goal of creating 10 times more sustainable well-being for ourselves and those around us per unit of energy invested. Thank you for watching.